Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for having me. Let's just dive right in, I guess. Just a little housekeeping to start. This session is going to be recorded, as Kyle said. If you hear something you like, throw up a reaction in the chat. I'll try and keep my eye on the chat as best I can. But if you do have questions for our Q&A, we're going to leave a lot of time for Q&A at the end, something like 20 minutes. And so make sure to use that Q&A tab for questions just so we can easily see all the questions and navigate through them. As for me, I'm your host. I'm not your host. I'm your co-host here. But giving the presentation on Content Hub, Gabe Wahhab. I'm a senior product marketing manager with a focus on Content Hub and M+, and I'm coming from beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fun fact, I used to be a leader of a hug many years ago, one of the first 10 hugs actually ever, the Milwaukee hug. So I have a special place in my heart for hugs, but I was also a partner and a solutions app partner at one point as well. Who was also the main admin for my company. And so also have an extra special place in my heart because I used to also be just like all of you in this group here today.
You've got a lot of Wisconsin love here. Lots
of
nice. Sconties, right? Is that right? Lots of Sconties here in there.
Yeah, a lot of Scotties and some names that I definitely recognize here. So yeah, great to see all the Scotties in here. For today's session, though, we're going to just go over a little bit about how content marketing has evolved over time. Then I'm going to go through some demos of Content Hub and some extra special love for all of you. Going to go through our upcoming roadmap of what's coming and some of the really cool features that are coming. And then we'll have our Q&A just at the end. So let's jump in. A little bit about me, like I talked about earlier. This is a picture of me, if you couldn't tell, and this was taken about 12 years ago. And at that time, I actually owned a digital marketing agency called Savvy Panda, and it was around that time that we became a partner of this newer software company you might have heard of called HubSpot. And the founders of HubSpot, Brian and Dharmesh, had created this methodology that you also might have heard of called inbound marketing. And as we all know, at the center of it was content marketing and a focus on creating content to attract customers. But it was a simple but very revolutionary strategy. And inbound marketing, it worked. It worked incredibly well, especially in 2012 when it was still relatively new. And as you can see here, this is an actual snapshot of our HubSpot portal from 2012 over 2013. And this was our agency's first year on HubSpot and implementing a content marketing strategy. And the results for us, it was just massive. And we really loved inbound because it was simple, it was repeatable, and it was most importantly effective. It was, to be honest, it was sort of like we had some sort of cheat code. It almost felt like too good to be true in that moment, just because it worked so well. And for our clients, the results were also just massive. It was like nothing they'd seen before, and it made us look like heroes. And so on top of that, too, it worked especially well in industries with long sales cycles and complex products and services. And that was something that was previously difficult to market to. So if we go back to 2012, a typical content marketing strategy looked a little bit like this. You'd write some blogs across the buyer journey. It's typically something like a 500 to 1,000 word blogs. You'd put in some call to actions from those blogs to some offers. You'd nurture the leads with some emails, and eventually some would convert into customers. Wait, but hold on. I forgot the most important part. In 2012, you had to post it to Google Plus. So kidding, but not really kind of kidding. I don't know if we have anybody who remembers Google Plus out there. But now let's fast forward to today. Content marketing is more important than ever. So 84% of marketers say content is the most important part of marketing, and 50% of content marketers will increase their investment in content marketing for 2024. And this is the highest of any marketing channel. But here's the problem. Content marketing has changed a lot over the years, and that same content playbook from 12 years ago, it's just not as effective as it used to be. So what's changed? Well, the first change is what types of content are being created, with video and audio displacing text and Gen AI changing the content creation process and democratizing creative skills. The next change is where content is being consumed, with attention now fragmented across many channels and formats like podcasts and YouTube, video shorts, social, and so on. The third is buyers are tuning out the noise, making it harder to stand out in a sea of content. And finally, how you create content is now more about quality and brand than it's ever been before. So to win in today's modern marketing landscape, marketers must create rich expertise-backed content in many formats, across many channels, and keep all of that content up to date over time. We must also do this while personalizing touch points in the right places, at the right time, and with the right message. And you got to do that across the entire customer journey. So today, a content marketing strategy looks like this. We're still doing everything we did before, but now we're also creating podcasts and internet TV shows, creative videos, deep long form content, and interactive content. We then manually repurpose it into smaller pieces and redistribute it across LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, blogs, our website, newsletters, ads, SMS, and more. And because we live in a world that's now so saturated with content, we have to be much more targeted. So we can't just create this content. We have to orchestrate it like a gifted composer, leading a beautiful symphony into targeted touch points at the right time, in the right place, with the right message to create personalized customer journeys. Oh, and by the way, all this has to be done with the same human resources we had in 2012. Does that sound exhausting to you? I'm exhausted just thinking about it. It's really tough being a content marketer these days. So much so that 70% of marketers say that content marketing is harder than ever before. And 54% of marketers say content marketing tools aren't keeping up with the needs of modern marketers. So fear not though, my friends. HubSpot gave marketers a better way to grow when you invented inbound marketing, and now we're doing it again. Content Hub is an all-in-one AI-powered content marketing software that helps marketers create and manage content that fuels the entire customer journey. So what's in Content Hub? So we have many new features that help marketers quickly and easily create and manage content, including brand voice, content remix, podcasts, AI translations, custom AI blog generator, post narration, member blog, content embed, memberships, which is coming down to pro. I'm sure a lot of you admins will love hearing that. AI image generator, content library, and more. And now you'll also be wondering, if I'm a CMS Hub or a Marketing Hub customer, do I get any of these new features? And you will get a few for CMS Hub, basic AI blog post generator, post narration, the new membership features if you have CMS Enterprise, AI image generator, and content library. And for Marketing Hub users, AI blog generator and post narration. But if you do want to take advantage of all the features, though, you will have to upgrade to Content Hub, and we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. But for now, I do want to jump into some demos, get right down into it, and show you guys all of these amazing features. So let's jump over into demo time. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to start sharing this one. Just give me a second here. I'm just going to see if there's any questions. Memberships. All right, we are going to go over memberships, so I'll show you that a little bit more here in a second. Let's get this window going. Okay, there we go. All right, so you guys can see my screen now. All right, so first feature I want to go over is actually content remix. And so we talked about earlier how difficult it can be to keep up with all the different channels, all the different formats that you need these days. And so with content remix, this allows you to take a piece of content and to remix it into several other pieces of content. And so you'll notice a few things here. I can start a fresh remix. I can use a pre-created template for a remix, or I can look at all of the previous remixes that I have created, and I can just restart from one of those. So for now, let's say I'm going to start with a new remix. I'm going to start by adding a piece of content from here. And so one of the things, if you've seen content remix, one of the things you may not have seen before that's pretty fresh here, starting actually from a URL. And so I can choose my different content types to start from that I have within HubSpot. So let's say I want to choose a blog post that I want to start remixing from. I can copy and paste text in, or now I could actually just paste in a URL from anywhere on the web, and I can remix directly from that. So now I'll just choose a blog post here. And then from here, I have my initial piece of content. I can now start to choose what I want to remix into and how many of those I want. So do I want an ad? Do I want an audio file? Do I want a blog? etc. So let's say I'm going to create an entire campaign off of this. I can say, hey, I want a blog, I want a landing page, I want an email, and show me a social post. Maybe I want 2 social posts. Let's say I can choose 2 social posts and the amount that I want. So let's say I'm going to choose next now. I'm going to be presented with different options for remixing. So you'll notice here in the blog, I can choose which blog I want to send it to. I can choose the length. Do I want to include an image? And then I can give it specific instructions. And this is where some of the power is in giving it these instructions. Well, what do I want the blog on, right? Do I want it to be a subtopic of what was in here? Do I want to create a blog and pillar strategy, for instance, and create several blogs and dictate which each one of these wants, and so on? And so I can put those instructions in. One of the things you may notice here as I go, for instance, as landing page and email, it's only templates that support scaffolding, content scaffolding will be available. So you'll see here. And so what exactly is content scaffolding? Content scaffolding is something that will be directly put into your template that'll tell the AI what is going into that section. And so this is something that a little bit more information on it will be coming in the future. That you could see with the content scaffolding, but that's something I think that as admins, you'll probably want to know what that content scaffolding is. So that is something you will have to have specifically in your templates in order to tell AI what goes into that specific section. For now, let's say I'm just going to choose one of these. Same thing, I can give it an objective. Do I want an image or not, and so on. Same thing here, you're going to see templates for email. Choose what business unit, for instance, I may want to create it for, and then just social networks. So what social network do I want to post this to? And then giving it, do I want to generate images and so on. So then I can click generate. Here's my generation. It's going to start generating now. Some of this is going to take longer than others. And so you can see some of it's already starting to come up. You can see here, I can put underneath it, I can put additional items that I want to remix directly from it. So any of these, once they're done, I can remix more. And so what that's going to look like after this is done, it's going to look a little something like this. If I zoom out here, you can see it created my blog post, my social post, and so on. From within here, I can then choose if I want to regenerate this. Did it do what I wanted it to do here? Do I need to regenerate it? And then from there, I can either copy and paste it, or I can take and save it directly in the app and take it into the app directly. And so that is essentially content remix. Now, if I do want to, for instance, like this is a pre-made one, a hub and spoke creator, for instance. So I have this one, I created already. I can just replace what's in here. So I can reuse this to create future hub and spoke strategies. All I have to do is come to the top, choose a different blog here, and it'll start regenerating that right away. So if I chose a different blog here, you're going to see, boom, it's got my initial blog. It's creating new blogs within it. I can go in here and then give the specific directions. Same thing, like let's say I have a blog and I want to create all my social posts directly from my blog. I can do that directly from within there. Yeah, you can tell it specific keywords. You can give it definitely those instructions like that. Something I'm going to show you later, actually, shortly here, is actually something where we have SEMrush and some of that keyword data actually integrated into here as well. Just looking at some of the Q&A here. So one of the amazing things, though, with Content Remix and our other AI feature, many of our AI features, that it uses this feature called brand voice. And I see a question, does it learn your brand? And so we do have this feature called brand voice. And so I can come in here and I can say generate brand voice. From here, I'm just going to grab a writing sample. So let's say I'm going to go in blog. This may not be long enough. I may need to go into a different blog here. Let me come back here and just go into the original. So that's a feature we're going to show here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to copy my writing sample here, and then I'm going to give it my writing sample. I'm going to tell it what type of writing sample it is. It's a blog, and then who is my audience that I'm targeting. So CEOs and marketers, and I'm going to click next. And then from here, it is going to come back and give me personality and tone traits. So I can choose 4 personality and tone traits for each of these. And so the reason we want to set up brand voice is there's a few things. One, we want it to sound like our business, but we also hear the complaint that, hey, it doesn't sound like me. It sounds kind of robotic. So this is going to allow it to sound just like your business and your brand voice. So I can change these personality and tone traits. And then once I'm done, I can give it a little bit more context, tell it a little bit more about my company. And I can also then choose what channels I want to use my brand voice within. And so that is brand voice. Now, again, as we said, whenever I'm creating now content and content remix, it's going to use this specific brand voice, but also when I'm creating other content, for instance, like blogs using my AI blog post generator, it is also going to use my brand voice. So let me actually come out here and I'll come into my blogs. I'm just going to pause here and look at questions. Can brand voice pick up key messaging from our website? So there will be more on this in the future. So right now it's just from the writing sample, but we are going to be making some updates to brand voice, and I'll talk about some of those updates when we get to our roadmap, and we'll talk about that, Nicola. Also talk about here shortly SEMrush and how that's integrated. So as you can see here, this is our AI blog post generator, and I'm sorry, this is our blog. Our AI blog post generator is right here, and so I can create, I can say generate a blog, and so as I come in here, you're going to see a few different things. One is I can generate an idea. So if I don't know what to write about, it's going to look at my previous content. It's going to look at my business, and it's going to suggest a topic for me to write about. Now, if I don't want to be that specific, I can just say, hey, I want to write about a specific area. So let me just say I want to write about data analytics, or I can give it a specific keyword I want to write about, and I can put that in there. From there, I can then click next, and this is where some of that SEMrush data comes in. And so what it's going to do here is it's going to, first it's going to give me a list of titles to write about. It's then going to give me different keywords, and I can edit these. I can generate new titles and keywords. But what you're going to see here is this is where this SEMrush piece comes in. And you don't need to have an SEMrush license for this. This is integrated in our API. And so what it's going to show you here is it's going to show you the monthly search volume for these keywords. It's going to show you how difficult it is to rank. And then one of my favorite new things is actually the intent, keyword intent. And so it'll tell you, is this informational intent? Is this commercial intent? Or is this transactional intent? Which align very much with the different stages in the buying process. And so you'll see this is more early stage, this is more mid stage, and this is more late stage. And so this will allow you to say, hey, does the keyword that I'm using align with what buyer intent is when somebody is searching for this keyword? And so that is the SEMrush piece of it. So if I click next, now it's going to outline the different features within. I'm sorry, it's going to outline the title. It's going to give me the different headers for the blog. It's going to give me a description, and it's going to give me a description for an image here. And so I could say, here's my title, here's my description. And now this is where some of the power comes in. I can give it specific talking points, because when we create content with AI, we don't necessarily just want to use it as our, we don't want to necessarily just use it out of the box, right? We want to be able to add our expertise. We want to add our specific point of view. We want to add our opinions, our personal stories. And so this is where I can add in all those different talking points to get it to where I want it to be, so I can get a strong first draft for then to come in and then create that overlay and create like a really high quality piece of content. So once I have this information in, I can click generate blog. This is going to take about 30 seconds. So I'll just jump into a blog that's already been created. And so this is what's going to come out of that. So you can see it generated my image for me based on the description. It built out all the content here and so on. And so this is my blog. Now, I can add some additional things that I really love here as well. And so this is called our post narration feature. So once I have my blog, I can actually add an AI narrated version of this blog post. So you can see here, it pulled in the transcript from my blog, which I can then edit to make it sound specifically, edit the script specific for audio. I can choose different voices within here, and then I can generate that. So I'm going to generate this. And as this is generating, I'm just going to stop so I can reshare so you guys can hear the audio and hear how realistic it is. So I'll come back here. I'm going to reshare and then share with audio. All right. And so now you guys should be able to hear the audio.
Explore the transformative power of big data analytics in reshaping healthcare delivery, patient outcomes, and medical.
So you can see it sounds very, very realistic, really high quality voice. And then I just add this to my blog post. Now, something to know as an admin for this feature, I do have to add one line of code into my blog template. So when you come into settings here, for instance, you will see this post narration tab here. And so when you do not have that line of, when you don't have that line of code in your blog template yet, it'll have just a little message here that says, hey, to use this, you can generate this audio, but it's not going to show up until you add this essentially line of code to your template. And then you can add it to your template and you'll be able to then see it, that feature. One of the other features we have here, which may be interesting to some of our international users, is our AI translate feature. And so with this blog or a landing page or a web page, I can now create AI translated versions. So I could say, create my multi-language variant. I can choose my language here. So let's say I want to create a German version of this, and I'm going to then click AI translate. And this is all done by DeepL. If you've ever done translations, you may be familiar with it. It's a very respected name in translation technology, works really, really well. And so I'll create this here. And I don't know if we have anybody German in the room who can kind of vouch for the quality, but you could see here, it translated my post here into here. And same thing, you know, with this audio version, I can regenerate it or generate it again, and it's going to generate it in a German version of this. And so I can choose this again, and I could say generate, and so on. And while this is generating, do you see a question? Can you add this audio version to a WordPress site post? There is a feature I'm going to be talking about later called content embed, which I think will be interesting to all of you. And with content embed, you can add a feature. You can add a feature like this to your WordPress blog post. It's not as simple of a process, but that is something we are exploring on making a little bit more easy process, because a lot of people are requesting that specific feature, Jeanette. So here's my German version now.
Erleben Sie die transformative Kraft der Big Data Analytik bei der Neugestaltung der.
So you can see that, and I can add that to my blog post. Another feature we have that's new for blogs is called our member blog as well. And so with member blog, what I can do here is I just go into my settings and I have this access control feature. And so I can change this to self-registration required. And when I do this, if I go preview my blog post, wherever I have this read more, so let's say I move the read more here, wherever I have this read more, it's going to cut that off. So let's say I'm going to preview this. I'll open a new tab, and you will see that now if I'm not logged in, it's going to have me sign up. It's in German, but it's asking me to please register, to have access to this. And so with this member blog feature, I can do this on a blog by blog basis. I can do this for an entire blog. And so I'm able to restrict access to the content to encourage users to sign up so we can capture leads. As we all know, there's third-party cookies are going away. And so having first-party data and being able to capture leads, especially with AI search coming too, is going to become more and more important. that have lighter accents. Yeah, there. So question on the audio narration, are there going to be options available to have lighter accents? We are looking into additional voices specifically around international accents and voices as well. So that is something that we are looking into. Nothing as of yet, but something that is being looked into. So next feature I do want to show after blog is, let me come up here, podcasts. So we did have some questions, I know, on podcasts. Let me see if I can find those so I can address those as we go through here. Oh, I think it was, will brand voice apply to podcasts? And I think was the question I saw earlier. And so that is something we're exploring. I think that is something we will see soon, but nothing concrete as of yet. Now for this podcast feature, you'll see I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in our roadmap when we get to the roadmap at the end. This is something that is going to be getting a lot of updates as well, and something that is being currently worked on. But if I just jump into one of these podcasts, for instance, you're going to see here, I can either upload an existing podcast that I have recorded, or I can generate audio from text. And so again, you can see here, I can choose my voice. You're already going to see that there may be some new features in here that have already been released. You can see I have my sections here. This is something that I believe is in beta right now. So I can have different sections within a podcast, and I can have a different voice if I'd like for each of those sections. And so all I have to do is put in my different script here. And same way. Oh, you know what?
Did you
Yes.
switch tabs?
Yes. Sorry. I was just thinking about that. I gotta reshare. That's Bebby for me. Let me go back to sharing my window here. Sorry, everybody. All right. So let me actually come back out here. So I went to continue anyway. I went to podcasts up here, and so this is what my podcast interface looks like. One of the things you'll notice here is it's got my RSS link. So this will work with any of your major podcast providers, really any podcast provider that'll take an RSS link. I have my RSS link here. I can have multiple shows, which I can generate. And then if I step into one of these, you're going to see here, I can upload existing audio, or I can generate audio from text. And so I can put in my script here, and I can choose what voice I want to use. And then I can also have multiple sections. So I can have different voices for different sections. I can go back and forth. And then all I have to do is then generate, again, my audio here. It's going to sound very similar to what it was previously. And then I'm going to fill out my episode details. What's my title, episode description? I can generate some artwork here. And I can also add transcripts as well now to be used. And then I can just save it. And then I have my podcast. And so really easy way to help generate podcasts. Can you train a voice like Descript? We'll be talking about this in a minute. That is something that is on our roadmap to do voice cloning. So you'll be able to use your own voice, not just a generic voice within here. So yes, that is something that is coming. Podcast episode be the source material to remix. That is something, yes, Kelly, that we are thinking about with content remix and audio, and using audio. Even more exciting is actually video for content remix, which is something that's also on our roadmap. And I'll talk a bit more about that when we get to the roadmap section as well. Now, I just created my podcasts. I do need a way to showcase those podcasts and get them out to the world and promote them. And one of the easy ways that I can do that is actually with our new podcasts module. And so you'll see here, I have this page, which I have all these different podcasts within, and super easy. All I have to do is I have my podcast module within here. So I can pull that up. And so all I would do is just say, pull in my podcast episode module. We also have a brand new podcast show module as well, which is a different style player where you can have the player directly within the page. Let me see if I can actually just pull that in and show you what that looks like here. If it'll take a second. But then I can select my show, and then you'll see this is a different style player that I can embed within the page with here, or I can have individual episodes. And you can see it's really easy to use. I'm just actually choosing which episode I want to display. So if I just want to display one episode within a page, within a blog, If I want to have an entire show within here, I can have both of those versions within here. And then, yeah, this is what it's going to look like on the front end. And then you'll notice the AI versions have the little AI generated little chip on here versus the non-AI generated version episode up here. So next feature that I want to show is actually memberships. And so memberships actually got an overhaul. It used to be all based on lists. Now we have this under memberships here. We have its own little section, and you will see we have all these different access groups. And these access groups work just like lists for the most part. So if I come up here into customers, you're going to see I have my list of different members here. But if I go back to edit these, you're going to see that I can choose a static group. I can have a dynamic group, and you're going to see I can choose my filtering criteria just like I could with lists here previously. So I can come in here, create my own list criteria. And then when I go to a page, I would just choose what access group I want to I do want to give access to that specific page. One of the nice things about memberships as well that just is going into beta right now is actually the ability to finally edit your different templates. So your email templates, your sign up page templates. So the different templates associated with memberships just went into beta this week, I believe, actually, is to be able to edit and customize those as well. So I know that's something that's been asked for some time now, that you will be able to edit as well. But from a page level, let's say I have a members page here. You can see here I have to log in. If I'm not logged in, I'm logged in though. But if I go to edit this page, you'll just see from the settings here, I'm going to choose my audience access, and I can choose which of my membership groups I want to give access to within here. And that's going to dictate who has access to these specific pages within here. We also released, just to give a quick shout out to this, content library module as well. So you can see here, everything in here is just based off of this module. And if I go into edit any one of these, you can see it's just a default module that I have here. I have a lot of different options, especially even down to styles. So you can see here, I have different layouts I can choose from. I have different images I can choose from, different colors. So I could use some of our default ones, a lot of different options to customize this, but this is giving me a way to easily create a content library. And then the last feature I want to show here is actually called content embed. And so with content embed, a few different use cases. So one, and the primary use case is being able to use HubSpot content on WordPress websites. And so if I want to be able to, for instance, use smart content on a WordPress website, I can now do that with content embed. So I could create personalized web experiences with using my CRM data, using HubDB, using custom objects. I can pull all of that into a content embed, and then I can embed it directly within a page. And so for an admin, you may, for instance, manage the website, and you may not want to give marketing access to the website, but you may want to give them access to a specific portion, for instance. You could create that as a content embed. They can edit that within HubSpot instead of having access to the entire site. Maybe they just have access to that section that you're creating in a content embed. Similarly, if you manage your website and it's a HubSpot website, content embeds are also you can use them kind of like global sections. So I could take this content embed and I can use it actually throughout my HubSpot site as well. And then it gives me one area to edit it, and it'll update on multiple, wherever it's used on your HubSpot website. Or you could say, hey, I want to use it within a HubSpot website and a WordPress website. So you could use it in multiple places. One of the things that you'll also see on our roadmap for content embeds is that we are looking to expand to beyond just WordPress into other CMSs as well. I see some questions about SEO issues with content coming from different sources and iframes. Andy, it doesn't use iframes. It's actually using JavaScript injection to do this. And so Google can read JavaScript injection and sees it as the same source, is my understanding of it. And so you won't run into any SEO issues unless for some reason you have some module that is really slow loading and going to take a long time to load. You may run into some issues with that. But other than that, you shouldn't run into any SEO issues. This doesn't use iframes. It uses JavaScript injection. So universal update of content embeds include image updates, changes, or just checks. Yeah. So anything you can put within a HubSpot website, you can put within or I should say a HubSpot page, you can put within WordPress. So this actually this example right here is actually you can see I have images, I have text, but I could grab this data from a HubDB. I can grab this data from a custom object. I can grab data from our CRM. I'm using some smart content here. So you can see this is my default content that I have here. And I also have a CEO specific version. So this is me using smart content with a query parameter. And you can see it totally changed the content. And if I come over to my WordPress page here, you can see here, this is my page in WordPress. And to use this, all I have to do is I have to, I just can type in, actually, let me go down here. This is also, I can just type in /HubSpot. And then you can see I have my different embeds here, and I can just choose my embed. And so I can use this experience directly from within WordPress. And same thing, I can then choose my embed. I can create a new embed directly from in here, or I can edit it directly in HubSpot, and it'll take me to that embed in HubSpot. But then if I use this, let me actually preview this. Here's my page by default. And then if I see, what was it? I forgot my query parameter off the top of my head. Add equals CEO. Okay. So come back to my WordPress page, add equals CEO. And then you can see my smart content version of that here using query param. But I use query param. You can use any version of smart content that you choose or that you prefer here. It is a Content Hub Pro Plus feature. And so that is Content Embed. And I don't believe I have any other features I do want to show yet. So let me come back to, I'm just going to go over the roadmap really quick, and then we can jump into Q&A. While I'm switching slides here, why don't you guys put in the chat, so to clarify memberships, why don't you put in the chat, though, your favorite features that you guys saw while I'm just switching screens. And so for memberships, yeah, that's limiting who can view a page. It's not, it's not a tool to allow, yes, correct. It's not the subscriptions tool, which is separate of this, but it is just members to control who can see specific pages on your website. As well, and there's some very simple and there's some very advanced versions of that. But I do want to leave a lot of time for questions here, so stop sharing. I'm going to share screen, and we're over back here. Share and go through here. We talked about that. So here's what is on our roadmap. Super excited for this. So first, AI landing pages. So much like you guys saw that AI blog experience where it took me through a guided process in creating, we are going to have an AI landing page feature that we are currently working on that's going to work very similarly to that. We're going to be doing brand voice enhancements. Most notably, one of the things that's been asked for the most has been multiple brand voices. So that will be something that you'll be able to use as multiple brand voices. That you should see that coming soon. Lots of podcasting enhancements, being able to help you generate transcripts, music intros and outros, voice cloning, analytics, being able to import. So lots coming on that. AI content repurposing. So like we talked about for content remix, being able to use new formats like video. So imagine being able to take a long video and chop it up into smaller pieces, or just remix it into other pieces of content. We're going to continue on membership enhancements, site speed enhancements, but then also you're going to notice here AI agents. So we're going to continue to create new agents, much like you're seeing with landing pages, much like you're seeing with blog, and also new structured content types. You're going to see here one that's mentioned specifically is case studies, and being able to create case studies as a content type now as well. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing here and we're jump into Q&A.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Gabe. It was great. Feel free to just take a breath. That was a lot. Everyone, I was watching the chat. Things were flying by. If you asked a question in the chat that did not get answered, please move over to the Q&A now and put that there. And regardless, everybody move over to the Q&A and start upvoting your favorite questions. We'll give it about 30 seconds, and then we'll work most upvoted to least upvoted until we, I was going to say run out of time or run out of questions. We will run out of time before we run out of questions. I'm pretty confident. So yeah, Gabe, do you have a favorite, or would that be like asking you to pick a favorite child?
I do have, I mean, content remix is definitely my favorite. It's such a strong feature. One thing actually I do actually want to mention too, because I did actually have one more slide here. But I won't bring it up because I want to leave lots of time for questions. But I did notice that there were some questions around this. So if you have content, or if you have CMS Hub, you do need to upgrade to Content Hub. You do need to upgrade to Content Hub to take advantage of all the features. But the upgrade is roughly about $100. So depending on what, if you're paying list price though, it's about $100 to upgrade. If you have Marketing Hub and you want to add Content Hub, we do actually have this new package called M+. And so that's also, Marketing Hub is $800 list price. M+ is $900. So it's, again,
and includes all the Content Hub features.
All
right?
of Content Hub for just an extra $100 off of extra list price, so $900 total. And then I think it's like a little bit more. So I think it's I think $300 more if you have Enterprise and want the Enterprise version of M+ as well.
So lots of comments in the chat from people who were like, how do I convince my boss to pay for this? And I think going one of those two routes is probably the way.
Yep. Yeah. So it's we tried to keep it within reach, and especially with the M+, it's already pre-discounted. So it's roughly about a 25 to 28% discount, roughly, depending on if you're getting the Pro or Enterprise version.
Nice. Okay. I have sorted the questions by most upvoted. Ali asks, we're pitching moving our website from Drupal to HubSpot with Content Hub. Any 30-second highlights that we should share with leadership?
Oh, I mean, from a CMS perspective, very much about ease of use and management. I think you will see a significant increase in usage just from being able to give marketers and somebody, I mean, look, Drupal is very complex, very difficult to use. This will be the exact opposite of that. You'll be able to have a marketer come in here, very easily create a landing page, very easily be able to make edits to their website if that is how you be able to choose it. But also from a development standpoint, much easier from a development standpoint as well, just to be able to develop it, whether you want to use Hubble or if you're using React. React is a lot of developers' preferred coding language. Now you can use React, you can use GraphQL from a developer's perspective to be able to develop it. And so big things are ease of use. You don't have to worry about security or hosting anymore. And you're going to see with that ease of use an increase in traffic and leads because of all the things you will be able to create that you weren't able to create before, or just took so much longer to create before.
Love it. Ben asks, are the AI-driven functions fully baked or still in beta? I've noticed that the majority of AI functions I've come across in HubSpot are in beta and therefore unsupported.
Yeah, so it's going to depend from feature to feature. For instance, Content Remix is still in beta. I believe Podcast is still in beta. So, but some of them also are not. So some of them are not in beta. It's a mix depending on the feature. I don't know unsupported though. They are supported, so I'm not sure the unsupported comment, but overall, they are supported from a support perspective. And if you do have any issues, but I can tell you those features are continually being updated, and we are continually improving them. So you can continue to see, you will continue to see updates regularly for all of those features.
Cool. Kelly asks, for content remix, is it on the product roadmap to have a podcast episode to be the source material to remix?
Yeah, so not specifically audio, but video, yes. So you will be able to, if you do have a video podcast, you can take that video podcast and remix it. I mean, theoretically, you could just turn the podcast into an MP4 file, which is a video, even though it won't have any video, it'll just have the audio layer, and you could use that to remix it since you don't necessarily need the visuals. So technically, yes, it will support audio, but just in a little bit of a roundabout way. But that is actually on the roadmap as well as something we are exploring, is just allowing it to be the initial source type.
Also, if you have your podcast transcript, you can just drop it in as text and
yep. So. Yeah, you can use some like Descript or something to get that transcript. Yep.
What AI model is this using / based on? Is our content used to train the AI, or is it protected? I assume this is specifically about content remixes, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, so we do have this website called behindhubspotai.com. So if you go to behindhubspotai.com, it tells you for every single tool what model it's using and what data it's using. Generally speaking, across the board, we don't use any of your data to train our AI. It is all localized to your portal. We are actually not doing any AI training. So not using your data, and you can go to that website. It'll tell you what we're using. For most tools, we're using OpenAI, but different versions of OpenAI, and that's not across the board. So you will see we are using different AI technology across many different tools.
So I saw this question come up earlier, and I actually opened the website, and if you search for remixes, nothing comes up. Should you just look like the blog generation for the blog generation piece and the separate parts like that? Okay.
Yep. So it's covered under each of the pieces that it's covered, but we did actually just recently flag that and said, hey, we should probably have something for remix specifically, because people are probably looking for that specifically. Yeah. So there'll probably be something specific for remix on there soon.
Cool. Keep an eye out for that, everyone. Melissa asks, how could we use ebook content to create multiple blog posts?
I mean, you can take that ebook and just copy and paste the text in, because we have a free text section. And then similar to what I showed, you could then use that as your source and then just plan to have separate blogs underneath it. So you could say, hey, take this source content, and I want this first blog to be about this subject. When you have the objectives, I want the second blog to be about this subject. And so essentially, you're just going to have your source as the ebook, copy and paste that text in, and then you'll just choose multiple blogs underneath it for your remix. Give it the objective specifically about what content you want it to pull from from that initial piece, and boom, you'll have multiple blogs then out of that. And then on top of it, you can go layers deeper and say, hey, give me tweets to promote this, give me emails, give me landing pages, whatever you want. You can do that. So, yep.
Nice. Call asks, is there a way to save podcasts as a library and be able to share them separately on third-party channels, for example, Spotify?
Yes. So with the RSS URL, you just give that to Spotify, and anytime you have a new episode, that's going to be directly taken into Spotify, and you'll be able to then go into Spotify and then manually approve or turn on that episode. We are looking into if we can automate that process as well for the future, so you don't actually have to even go into Spotify and approve every episode. But yes, it absolutely works with Spotify and all the different major providers.
Yeah, and I will say I started a podcast using this tool, and it took a little bit of Googling to figure out how to give my RSS feed to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything initially. But since then, I've been adding episodes, and they've just been flowing through into all my third-party things very smoothly. So there's a little bit of setup up front, and it depends. You have to choose those third-party ones, which ones you want to do. But then RSS, it's tried and true. It's been around a long time, running important parts of the internet, and it works. It's lovely. I'm a very happy user, Gabe. Sarah asks, in the objectives box, can you tell the AI which keywords to optimize for? Or is SEMrush automatically doing that without us telling it which keywords to use?
Yeah, so if you're using AI blog post generator, it based on the keyword that it's chosen in the beginning, you optimize based on that. For content remix, you will have to tell it specifically to optimize for a specific keyword around that, just because it doesn't go through that same flow necessarily. So yeah, you would have to put that in the objectives if you have a specific keyword that you want to optimize it for.
Will brand voice be available for podcasts? I didn't see that as a channel to pick from in the settings.
Yeah, it's definitely on the roadmap, definitely something we're exploring. So you may see that soon, but no official stance on that yet. But that is definitely something we have our eye on. Yep.
Does the content library support all file formats?
Yeah, so the way the content library works is it's pretty much just a link. So anything you would put in the file manager, you can link to it from there, or you can link to a URL if you want. So yes, it does support really any file format that you want. Anything you can put in file manager, it'll support.
Great. I'm seeing a few questions about how to find information about M+ and the other packaging things you mentioned.
Yep.
Is there a place people can find those?
Yeah, if you go to the pricing page, towards the top of it, there is a bundle where you can see the M+ bundle and what's included in that. I'm not sure if it's been updated yet. I know it's something that is in the process of being updated. I believe it is, but the pricing configurator tool, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's also on the content page, but it'll work with that as well. So if you select Content Hub and Marketing Hub, it should do that, but I don't quote me on if that part is launched yet. I know that was coming soon, but there is an M+ page specifically on the pricing page that will give you all that information.
Great. We have about 1 minute left, so I think I'm going to cut questions off there. Gabe, thanks so much for being here. If people want to connect with you after this, do you have a preferred social or a way for people to get in touch?
Yeah, LinkedIn's the best way typically. Yeah, LinkedIn's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Cool. Deanna has dropped that into the chat. Thanks again for being here, Gabe. Thanks all of you for joining. This is great. Hope you're all excited about Content Hub. I think it's lovely. Charlene, yes, we are moving on from Google Plus to Marketing Plus, M+, from G+ to M+. That's the transition you were supposed to make over the course of this hour together. So thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and hope to see you back next week. And yeah, Gabe, see you around. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.